Today I'm sharing with you my top 10 from the house of Alexandria Fragrances, so stay tuned to find out what they are. And if you're wondering what that is there, that is what happens when you try to order a Christmas present and you confuse inches and millimeters. It's a mistake that I've made too many times. Word to your mother, my name's Steve, this channel is Frags Twitches. Thank you for tuning in, I love you for doing so. Today I'm going to share with you my top 10 fragrances from the house of Alexandria Fragrances. They are predominantly a clone house in case you don't know, but they do have some original creations. Now these are just my top 10, I'm stating the obvious here, but it's obviously very subjective. I'm not saying they are the best from Alexandria Fragrances, but I'm saying they are currently my top 10 favourites. So if you're new to the house, these might be a good safe place to start, but I'll tell you a little bit more once we get cracking into the list. In at number 10 is a fragrance that I love the smell of, like genuinely love the smell of, but for some reason I don't like the smell of it as such. It's a bit weird, let me explain. So the fragrance I'm talking about is Apple Crumb. So this is a inspiration of Ojon from the house of Parfum de Marly. Now this is basically, it's meant to smell like apple crumb, so you do get apple, but for me the cinnamon, it's like a cinnamon bomb. It's very heavy on the cinnamon, but if I just like spray this now, I absolutely like love the smell of this stuff. It's obviously more gourmandish, so if you're not into those sort of style of fragrances, then maybe this isn't for you, steer clear. But it's so yummy and addictive, and I love the smell of it. Yeah, as I say, it's for some reason, it's a fragrance that I don't often find situations where I want to smell of it, but I really enjoy smelling it. So it's like, I sort of want to just spray some on my hand and just keep smelling it throughout the day. That's what I want to do with this. It's weird, man. It is so nice, but if you're into gourmands, etc., I think you'll really like this, and it's definitely worth a try. As I say, I do genuinely love the smell. Oh, it's so nice. If for some reason I don't want to smell of it, it's weird. Let me know in the comments below if there's any fragrances that you love to smell but you don't want to smell of. In at number 9 is an inspiration of Roger Parfum's Elysium. Now if you've never smelt that, it's very much a blue fragrance that's kind of in the same ilk as Aventus, Bleu de Chanel, etc, etc. And it is a lovely, fresh, clean, versatile shower gel type signature scent. It's that kind of style. I would say personally, because of the sort of vetiver in Elysium, I find it a little bit more mature. Now I'm not saying it's old, because it's not, it's definitely not, but I'm saying it's not like a young Lynx Axe shower gel type thing where it smells like a teenager. It's quite shower gelish and safe, and a blue fragrance, but more for like a more mature guy, so like late 20s, like 30s, 40s, etc. It's very clean, very fresh, very safe. It'd be a really safe option to buy for somebody as a present for Christmas, maybe like your dad or brother, etc. And what's nice is it's a signature scent. It's super versatile. You can wear it anytime, but not many people are going to be wearing Elysium, so you're going to kind of stand apart from the people wearing Bleu de Chanel, Sauvage, etc, etc. So yeah, very safe option. It's Zion, this one's called, I've neglected to mention. But yeah, so that's Zion from the house of Alexandria Fragrances. It's their take on Roger Parfum's Elysium. In at number 8 is Interplay Extrait. Now this is inspired from Baccarat Rouge 540, which is one of the most duplicated fragrance DNAs in the world of fragrance, after Aventus, of course, because Aventus is like your mum. Everybody's had a go, haven't they? But this is, if you've never smelled Baccarat Rouge 540, it's kind of it's very unisex. Some people say it's feminine, some people actually say it's quite masculine. I think it's just very unisex and safe. It's a touch sweet. To me, it's like got I think there's some florals in there, but to me it comes across as this sort of, the sweetness is kind of like biscuity. It reminds me of like a sweet biscuit. I don't really know why, I've sort of said this before. So it's not really sweet. It's not like chocolate or candy or whatever, you know, you guys call it across the pond there. But it's kind of more like a biscuit, like a sort of sweet biscuit. But it's very nice, very easy to wear. Now, when I first smelt Baccarat Rouge 540, there was so much hype around it. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit kind of underwhelmed and disappointed. And even to this day, I don't kind of love it. I'm not amazed, I'm not blown away by it. But when you wear this, that's when you start to appreciate it. If you kind of live with it a little bit, wear it, that's when you can really appreciate kind of how good it is, how solid it is, and how safe it is, because nobody is going to dislike this fragrance. They might not love it like me, but they're never going to dislike it. So it's just really, really easy to wear and really enjoyable. I do really like it. The only thing to remember with this one, being an extrait de parfum, it's not a beast projector. It wears really close. It does hang around quite a while, particularly on clothes, but you're not going to kind of get loads of attention walking into a room. It's when they're kind of close to you, which is not going to happen under current situation. But yeah, that's when this kind of comes into its own. But yeah, it's, as I say, wear this and you'll start to appreciate how good this fragrance is, because that's what I did. In at number 7, we have an original creation from the house, and it takes Hani's name. It's Hafez, but this is the Hafez Exclusive. So this is a flanker to Hafez 1984, which, spoiler alert, will be featured later on in this list video. So Hafez Exclusive is the easiest way I can explain it. To me, it's like a springtime version of Hafez 1984. Of course, you then need to know what Hafez 1984 kind of smells like, so you're gonna have to go forward to see that and then come back to this. But that's kind of what it's like to me. It carries the Hafez 1984 DNA, but it's like a springtime version. So it's got, I actually sprayed this just before the video. With this though, where they've gone in a different direction with this compared to Hafez 1984 is this is got this passion fruit accord in it at the top, which is very, obviously it's kind of quite sweet and fruity, obviously. And it probably does make it a little bit more feminine maybe, but again, obviously gender is irrelevant in fragrance really, you just wear what you like. But it's kind of quite fruity. It gives it like a sweetness, but there's also some more florals in there as well. This just kind of lightens this up a little bit, which is why I think it works really well in slightly kind of warmer weather like springtime and even sort of warmer days in autumn. Probably not in high heat, probably cooler summer evenings maybe, but not in high heat because it might just be a bit too much, a bit too strong. But absolutely beast performer, lovely fruity opening with that Hafez 1984 DNA, but just kind of lightened up just to give it a little bit more versatility in some warmer weather. Yeah, lovely fragrance this, and it kind of doesn't get the attention it deserves in my opinion. In at number 6 is Black Tie Affair. So this is inspired by Tuxedo from the house of Yves Saint Laurent. Now, if you're not familiar with that fragrance, it's not one of their main kind of high street, sort of very designer, mass appealing type fragrances. It is one of their more exclusive, kind of more getting on for niche style of fragrance. It costs about, I did look it up, it's about £155 for 75 ml in the UK. And then obviously the 125 ml is about 255 or something. So it's not cheap. So that's where Alexandria kind of come into their own in this sort of style of fragrance. I blind bought this on the back of Cuban No's kind of review of this and his love for Tuxedo from YSL. And you know what, I wasn't disappointed. I sprayed this on my arm. So when I first sprayed this, I was like, damn, that's really good. I've never smelled anything like this. That's what I love about it. To me, it's really unique. There might be other things out there that smell like it, but I've never smelled them. So for me, this is great to have in my collection because I don't really have anything that smells like this. So it's not super heavy like a winter fragrance, but it's not a light kind of a breezy, mass appealing type fragrance either. It is definitely, as the name suggests, a little bit more kind of formal. Of course, you can obviously wear it whenever you want, but it's definitely better in at least sort of shirt and chinos, but probably like a tuxedo, black tie, that style, kind of a bit more formal, because it's kind of quite complex. It's not super heavy, but it's not light. It's got some patchouli in there, there's some spice, and there's some amber, so it's certainly got some depth and some backbone to it, so it kind of makes a statement, but there's some nice kind of sweetness to it as well, and it's almost kind of comes across as a bit boozy. It's a lovely, lovely fragrance this, and it's done so well. Now, I should emphasize, I've never smelled Tuxedo from YSL, so I don't know how close it is to the original, but I do know that this smells really good, and it's really unique as well. So I love having this in my collection. So yeah, if that sounds like a sort of fragrance that you might enjoy, do check out Black Tie Affair. I thoroughly recommend it. In at number 5 is a inspiration from the house of Tom Ford. It's their Neroli Portofino. This is Alexandria Port. Now I've got a little travel size version of this, and I actually took this on holiday with me last year when you could go abroad, and now you can't even go out your fucking house. And I kind of rinsed it on holiday. Performance is better than Neroli Portofino, but it's not amazing performance, so just kind of manage your expectations like that. This style of sort of light, citrusy, Neroli type fragrance typically doesn't hang around long. So this is better than the original from Tom Ford, but it's not amazing performance. So just remember that if you are going to purchase it. But this smells so good. Really enjoy this. It's just works so well in heat. So I took this with me to Spain and it worked really well. It's like light, freshening, yet attractive. It's obviously quite heavy in Neroli, so you do have to like that note and accord to enjoy this one. But yeah, it's so good. If you're looking for a Neroli Portofino kind of cheaper version, then I can definitely recommend Alexandria Port. So I'm fully aware that this list so far has not been that adventurous. I've not named many fragrances that you're probably not already aware of, because these are mostly the fragrances that other people are talking about. They're probably already on your radar. Now, the fragrance in at number 4, however, hardly anybody talks about. To me, it doesn't get the attention it deserves, but it is still very, very safe. The fragrance I'm talking about is Sparkling Bergamot. So this is an inspiration of Le Labo's Bergamot 22. Now, I first smelt this by smelling a sample, and I absolutely fell in love with it. The video's on my YouTube channel, so you can find it as a first impressions video, and it was just right up my street. I declared that, and then I went and got a bottle of it because I love it. Now, as I say, this is not complicated at all. This is very, very simple and safe and very unisex. Anybody can wear this. It's basically bergamot and musk. So you're left with this very clean, fresh fragrance that works very well in the summer, but it can work all year round in an office, in a kind of aircon environment. If you're just looking for something that's clean and fresh, you can wear to work, you'll probably pick up compliments, and you're a man, woman, or somewhere in between, this works really well. For me, this just doesn't get the attention it deserves. I emphasize it's not complicated, but damn, it smells good. I really enjoy this, and I think it should just get more attention, man. Sparkling Bergamot, I thoroughly recommend it. Choo choo! All aboard the hype train. Next fragrance in at number 3 is Black Panther. This is, you might notice that this is the only bottle here that I have the larger 50ml. I have made a very small dent in this, but I've not had this one very long. I actually opted for the 50ml version of this because I knew that I'm going to wear this and I'm going to use this up. It might take me a while, but I will definitely wear this. Black Panther is a take on Tigar from the house of Bulgari. So it's Le Gem Tigar. It's super, super expensive. It's like 250 quid or something, 255, can't remember what it is now. So I've done numerous comparisons. I've done other videos on Tigar and Arrakis from Spirit of Kings, which also smells like it. And ultimately, this is my favorite kind of take on it. So I actually end up selling Arrakis from Spirit of Kings and kept this. Pound per mil, this and Spirit of Kings is, Arrakis is basically the same, but Spirit of Kings comes in a larger 100ml, where the largest you can get in this is about 50ml or 55. But this is so good. I think everybody should have this in their collection. Again, not a complicated fragrance, not at all. So this is basically grapefruit and ambroxan. That's pretty much it, but damn does it smell good. For me, this, compared to like the original and Spirit of Kings Arrakis, this is probably a little bit kind of zestier and fruitier, which kind of makes it a bit more, where they are very safe, kind of all year round office type fragrances, this will still do that, but I think this kind of excels more in the warmer weather because it's just a little bit kind of zesty and juicier. But this is such a good fragrance, and I think everybody should have it in their collection. Of course, if you don't like ambroxan and those style of fragrances, probably not for you, but this is simple, done very well, and Hani has smashed it out of the park with this. Black Panther is a great, great fragrance, and everybody should have it in their collection as far as I'm concerned. In at number 2 is an original creation, and it is an amazing creation. I've featured this before. This has been #1 in my top 10 fragrances for winter. It was also the fragrance that I featured in my Christmas collaboration video last year, the fragrance that I wore on Christmas Day. It is an amazing winter cold weather fragrance. I'm talking about Hafez 1984. I think everybody should own this. It's an absolute banger. Obviously earlier I touched upon Hafez Exclusive, which is released after this, and that's a flanker of this one. I said that was like a spring version of this, and this is like a winter version of that. So what do I mean by that? This has got tobacco in it, it's got spice, it's got vanilla, so it's got like, it's got rum as well. So it's like this warm, sweet, spicy fragrance, which for those reasons work really well on Christmas Day. It's a great Christmas fragrance. And it's very strong. It's quite a strong statement maker. Because it's so intense, I often wondered if people would like it, if it might be a bit divisive. I was kind of a bit conscious because it's, as I say, it definitely makes a statement and will get you noticed. But I actually picked up a compliment on this one. I've mentioned this before on the channel, not that I'm like hanging my hat on the one compliment that I got. But yeah, I went in my corner shop just to kind of pick up some stuff like bread or whatever. And the girl behind the counter said, "Oh, what are you wearing? It smells amazing." I then had this whole awkward moment where I sort of told her what it was, and I should have just played cool and said thanks. But anyway, yeah, it's a great fragrance. It excels in colder weather. You couldn't really wear this in warm weather, but for a winter fragrance, as I say, this is #1 in one of my top 10 fragrances for winter, and it totally deserves that. If you're looking for a great kind of unique winter fragrance, I thoroughly recommend Hafez 1984. So if you've ever watched any video on my channel ever before, you already know what's at #1. It's Royal Equestrian. Had to be, didn't it? So this is their take on Parfum de Marly Layton, which is one of my favourite fragrances of all time. But this is what got me into that fragrance. I'd never smelt Parfum de Marly Layton. I blind bought this. I smelt it and I was like, oh my God, that is amazing. I then kind of rinsed through this. I just kept wearing this. I've picked up compliments on this from colleagues at work. So it just got to the point where I felt like I just need to own the original in my collection. I kind of owe it to myself, to Parfum de Marly, and I just wanted to have the original bottle because I just love the DNA so much. So I did end up buying Parfum de Marly Layton, but I still keep this. I still keep this in my shelf because I owe a lot to kind of Hani and this fragrance, man, because this is the fragrance that made me discover that DNA that I just love. And as I say, I would comfortably say it's my favourite fragrance of all time. If I only have to keep one fragrance, that would be it. I would just wear that and I could get away with it all year round. Maybe just have to go a bit lighter in the high heat, but love that fragrance. And because I love that so much, I love this for kind of helping me discover it. And that for me is what kind of clone houses are all about. They get a lot of stick, but this is a perfect example where I was never going to buy Parfum de Marly Layton like blind buy, and it's hard to kind of sample it. Obviously you can get samples in groups, but this worked well. I blind bought this. It's a much less of a risk, fell in love with it, and then as a result I went and bought the original. So this for me is just a prime example of why for me personally, I think clone houses have a place. So I thank Hani and I thank Royal Equestrian for helping me find my favourite fragrance of all time. So this just had to be a #1. So that's it. I hope you got something out of this video. If you did, give it a like and all that. If you're new to this channel, do please subscribe. I appreciate it. I've got a little mini series going on this channel where I do first impressions of Alexandria fragrances, and that's usually they're the samples, and that's why I ended up kind of choosing these bottles to own, to be honest. So yeah, do kind of subscribe. You'll find all those videos in the First Impressions playlist on this channel, and there's going to be more to come, so stay tuned for those. I've also got an Alexandria Fragrances affiliate link in the description below, so if you click on that and go and end up buying something, basically I get a small commission on whatever you buy. So if you think that kind of skews me and makes me shill, well, you're probably right. But if you watch some of those first impressions, you'll see there's plenty of fragrances that I've done a first impressions of that I just didn't like. To be honest, it's most of the Roger Parfums fragrances that I just don't really appreciate and enjoy. I think it's just because I'm working class scum and it just doesn't, it knows it and it just doesn't like my skin. So, but yeah, so take it, you don't have to use that affiliate link, go and just buy and just spend your money however you want. Do you know what I mean? I'm not your mum, do what you want, mate. Thank you for watching. I will see you in another video soon, I hope. Take care, much love.